Hi, welcome to episode 6 of my vanilla playthrough. So last episode I wasn't able to finish the steel plant, and now its beauty is alive. It's producing 2 units of steel per second. It can be expanded if necessary, but for now I'm going to leave it like that. We're having the steel we want, and that's just fine. For this episode I'm going to set up the main bus of the future factory, and thus building the very foundations of this factory array. So the main bus is your main road of resources for your factory. Usually you want to transport refined goods, which you will need to produce better items like logistic items, like production facilities, like science, like military. You want to bundle these ingredients, those refined ingredients, all on one belt, like the fundamental resources being, of course, iron and copper plates, and there will be many more items on the main bus during this series. So for now I have decided to run the main bus into this direction. The road is always oriented in the direction where you want to expand your factory in. So it took me a few minutes of thinking about it, why I want to do this, and I will elaborate you my thought process behind that. This direction here, I'm seeing there's copper ore, quite an abundance of it. I'm here having a small patch of iron ore as well, which will back up my starter stuff from here as well. And much more importantly, there's bodies of water down here. Water is a pretty important resource over the game in general, and it's always pretty nice to have a connection to the water, which doesn't come from the ocean coast here. Because if we imagine now the bus is running in this direction, and at some point we want water in this area, it's pretty easy to see that this will be quite useful if you want to produce some items which will need water as an ingredient. So the distances here are not that huge, but compared to this direction here, I will soon hit the ocean, so I would have needed to let the bus run down a little bit lower. And if we look here, there's quite a lot of forest in my way. So there were more things speaking against it. Also a lot of cliffs over here. I mean, I have cliffs here too, but look at the amount of cliffs here and the amount of cliffs here. I feel like the density here was lower. So overall, those were my decisions. I could have gone south here too. That's looking pretty nice as well. I think that would have been a solid choice too, if I went for some more radar research in before. So, but I made up my mind, and that's how we're going to roll. So, since the smelters will live in this block here, the main bus will run through the starter base in the future. So I'm going to dismantle the starter base later, but for now I still need that place. I can't get rid of it yet. So what I'm going to do is that I'm just build some solution for in between. This is by no means how I want to do this in the long run, because right now the biggest problem I'm seeing here is that there's not enough room between these two. Or, well, I could do it like this. So for the future I want to have I want to go for 4 belts. Rather go big than be too small. So I'm just ghosting a few units here to see how much space we're going to need. So this is how we're going to do it for now. So the expansion of the factory will go into this direction. So to expand the factory further, we will of course need more smelters, but we will need other things as well. So I want to do a bigger production facility of research items, and there is something not working out here anymore. What's wrong? The copper plates are gone. so I need to restore that. I want to go for a bigger research facility, of course, and I want to build a bigger array to go for production facilities, aka the mall. Oh no, 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 that's not how I wanted it to happen. Okay, so dumb move. We want this to happen like that. Well, it's not working out either. So we're going to have a little bit of a replacement game here. So I think I'm going to run it like that. Or wait a sec. Shouldn't that work out? No. Yeah, now I know how to do it. These are really the more troublesome situations in Factorio where you have to do things just to make them work somehow. This is what happens if you improvise too much in general, so I'm going to explain what I did there, just it's working out. So these boys here had a copper influx a while ago, which I dismantled a while ago when I built the big copper smelter. And now I went for a red inserter here to feed that guy, and yeah, the rest is quite clearly visible. I needed to merge the copper here at this point, because if I merged it here, you saw what happened. And the iron gear wheels would have been suppressed at some point by the flow of the copper plates, and this will work out. So I needed to insert the red guy in here, and in the future I'm going to build a more efficient and less improvised array. But you know, one beautiful thing about Factorio is if you have planned bad, there's always improvisation. Afterwards your stuff looks a little bit weird, but it's going to look like you, and that's good. By no means, that's always a good thing. Like, by all means, I wanted to say, sorry. Alright, so next up is the steel, of course. I'm going to let that run like over here. This is also no permanent, no final picture here. I need to dismantle the starter base to properly arrange the belts of the bus, but for now I'm going to work with that because it's working out. So another thing that I want to do is to expand my smelter arrays. So I think I have now explained pretty much everything you need to know about the main bus. I mean, one day we're going to run on the bus here electronic circuits, for example, because they are also a wide needed good, and well, there are going to be a few more goods, like eventually bricks, coal, and things like these will all run along here at some point. But I think it's pretty self-explanatory. What's way more impactful for today is going to be how we're going to feed larger amounts of smelter arrays. Because as we can see here, this thing here is needing 15 units of ore per second. So I don't want to replace those miners whenever one of them runs dry. They won't be having those 15 units of iron ore anymore, because this is closely calculated, and I don't like this too much personally. So we're going to install some beautiful thing to buffer ore materials in between. I'm going to drop down a assembling machine to produce steel chests for me. So buffering is one strategy which you don't need to do. You can absolutely do the game without buffering, but I personally like to do it because it is for me a wise choice to do that, because it'll give you flexibility. So we're going to make a machine which produces steel chests. Does that? This would need a lot more basic insert. So this machine is producing so fast, it would use 9.6 of those yellow inserters. So let's check out how many fast inserters would be necessary. Oh, still a damn lot. How many steel? I don't need to do that because this thing would eat 8 steel bars per second if I would let it. I'm not producing that much, so this is exactly the amount of steel chests I want to have. I've researched the lab research speed. That's fine. We're going to proceed with that because for now I don't want to introduce new technology. So. The basic idea will be quite simple. I'm going to drop down steel chests in this area here. And it's going to look like this. We're having one line over here. And one line over there. For now, I'm going to work with that. I'm going to adjust that as necessary later, but this worked pretty well for me in the past, so I mostly use this strategy for mod packs which have way more ingredients than the vanilla game, where buffering strategies are way more important. You can plan your vanilla factories without buffering at all, by all means. If that is something you don't like, just as with all the things I'm talking about here, it's your factory, it's your dream, it's your building. Manufacture it as you want to. I'm just giving you ideas how to do it. So what I'm doing here is well, quite simple. I'm running the iron ore through a little system of chests here, but ultimately it's just the same. I'm just giving this system a option to store some iron ore in the time where we're not producing any iron plates. Because this factory doesn't permanently produce things. So stocking up on the iron ore here means that I will have buffers later if I will need more than the produced ore per second, which is quite powerful because if you have production spikes in certain times, this is quite good. But by all means, you should always try to configure your factory in a way that it's looking like this, ideally. It's pretty unattainable, but ideally, every equation in your factory should. No. Well, sadly, the steel chests are killing it here. Just wanted to go about that you should always try to achieve a 0. Like, you should always try to produce as much raw material as you need for the refining process, but you'll never achieve that unless you're really psycho about it, and please, you should be proud if you can achieve that, because it's quite hard. So I'm going to do these little buffers now a little bit more intensely. Because right now it's only slowing down my system. I need a few more inserters between that to ensure the flow of the belt. Because as you can see here, it's not getting packed quite well. And that's really something you don't want to happen there. So, also increasing the amount of chests in between also increases the amount of ore you can store in the system, which is also pretty useful. So I'm just setting up another guy here, and I need more iron plates. So I'm starting to have a nice surplus here. Alright. Let's do some more of these. I mean, it's quite simple, but I really do like to use that. Oh, I'm going to use a little bit more of a distance here. So as you can see here, the stuff gets packed up quite well. So I'm going to drop in a mixer here, and I'm going to continue the buffer over here like that to ensure that we're enriching, that we're packing this belt as tight as possible. This should cover up everything though. So let's just handcraft the last few fast inserters. And there we go. So this way I now have the ability to store a lot of iron ore in between. I'm going to do that with the copper ore as well. And going to expand this in the future maybe too. But for now this is just perfect, I guess. Oh, I forgot one there. Not only one. There we go. So I pretty much forgot that whole line there. Oopsie. Okay. So this should be quite okay for the moment. Alright. So the belt is getting quite okay here. Looks like we're needing another, well, yeah, I know why this doesn't work out. So here we need something differently. To mix this belt properly, we're going to do a little trick here. This is one way to pack a belt evenly. So I'm breaking up this input here into even streams, and with this construction, I'm creating a narrow piece of belt where the items get loaded from the left and the right at the same time, and this way you're distributing quite evenly. So I like that one a lot. Okay, now I would need to connect the other iron array into this little buffer here as well. But I'll leave that for a later moment, because for now I think we're quite okay with that. If I do that once I dismantle the starter base, I will be quite okay. There we go. So what I want to do next is to build up a proper mall area. But before I can do that, I'll need electronic circuits. Electronic circuits are a very, very fundamental resource in the production of pretty much everything. Like, you need these guys like in the production of inserters, drills, assembling machines, laboratories. I think they are even, yeah, in splitters. So as you can figure, you really need a lot of these guys. So I have already set up a little calculation where we create a factory which will produce 15 electronic circuits per second. So this will be the next thing I will be producing here in this factory. So I already need to think about where this whole thing will live, because green circuits are a very, very important building block of your factory. So I felt like I want to build the green circuit production over here, and I want to build my production facilities in the mall over here. So we're getting right here. I have the calculation open. We're going to need 15 units of assemblers to produce electronic circuits and 23 assemblers to produce the necessary copper cables. The necessary iron plates will come in raw, and you can see here we're eating up 15 iron plates with that. So basically this whole column here its whole production is going to get destroyed by the factory we're building here. So this game has quite 6 scalings. Going to leave a little bit of a distance between that buffer and the green circuit factory. I'm just taking these big rocks here as a imaginary line. It's quite useful to me. So, as we can see here, we're going to need 45 copper cables per second to satisfy the needs of all these guys. So, since we can't pack 45 items on a yellow belt, as we know the yellow belt only transports 15 items per second, we're going to need to split up this factory into 3 parts. There are a lot of different ways to build this thing here, honestly, but I wanted to go for a little bit of a, well, personal take there. So we're going to divide this into 3 blocks, because we can see here the copper cables are dividable into 3 belts, 3 yellow belts, that is. Lab research speed, yay! I'm going to increase my raw stats here a little bit further. So what I want to do is, if I divide this by 3, it's easy. If I divide this by 3, I end up with a 886, 887 division. So let's drop 4 and 4. Let's check it out. If I produce these guys like that, that's why I use the MaxRateCalculator a lot. So as you can see here, we're having no chance of transporting this stuff on 1 belt. So that's not going to happen. We would need to do it like that. Oops. Here we would have a load of 14 items per second. So I can only do it like that, sadly. Okay. Well, it's not that horrible. Alright. It's 23, isn't it? Yeah. Alright. So, shift right click on a recipe, followed up by a shift left click, copies and pastes the recipe. And now we're having the total beast here. So we're actually producing 46 units with that array, but it's impossible to avoid the overproduction, as it seems. So I'm going to do it like this here. Oh, I planned that too narrowly. No, it's my usual mistake. So there are 2 ways to do this. The most easy way to go for the production of green circuits, and that's the one your everyday solution here, is that we can go for this one as well. I think it's the easiest way to do that. Yeah. So I'm going to take no personal takes on this one. I'm going for a classy recipe. I just realized that building around a new solution for this is taking a little bit too long for my taste, so I'm going to make it like that. Good old stuff. So we're going to, yet still I'm going to have a little bit of an eye on the whole load of that thing, because there's still, I want to go for symmetry. No, there we go. Because at some point we're going to overload the belts there. So I basically try to... I keep an eye on these numbers here. Once they go up too high, I need to stop building on one side and go to the other side. So there we go. So let's check that out again. So I can produce 5 of these blocks. All right. Whoops. There we go. And I'm going to drop down the last one down here. All right. So it's one personal tick of mine to always try to build something differently than the usual take of mine. But, well, don't get distracted by that. So, as we can see here now, we're eating up 15 units of copper plate on this side of the array here. And that's the point where I stop the production, because the machines at the end of the line would never get the necessary copper plate if we proceed like that. So, I'm going to do this. And that. So I'm going to explain it in a sec. Oh, this one is actually the wrong side. This will run down here. This is the output. Alright. I'll need how many blocks more? I get it. Okay. So I guess I'll need to overproduce a little bit here. Or underproduce. Can't really, well, let's go like this, shall we? 14 are okay. I would need to do something like that, I guess. I think that's what was the end of the chain the Helmod was calculating, right? That should be 15. Yeah, okay, let's do it like that. Just to get the numbers straight. Okay. So this is the amount of assemblers we're going to need to get this thing done. The copper cables will get fed into the assemblers down right here directly, and we're getting the iron plates up here. And once everything is connected, this thing will make a lot more sense. Trust me for a second here. Everything will be fine. So I will need more smelters and everything to actually feed that beast here, but I'll rather go for a system that can sustain the load. Because one beautiful thing here is once the belt is full, this whole array will not eat more resources than this thing here. The only thing it does, it will withstand way more stress as long as I have a resource buffer available than the small one. So it's never really bad to have a too big array available. Having a too small one is usually way worse. So, speaking about which, I'm just wondering about my power. So, possibly I'll kill my power network with the connection of this one here. So, that's going to be quite interesting as well. So, wait a sec. This is the wrong direction again. Whoops. Okay. It's been a long day, friends. I'm sorry if I'm a little bit less sorted than usual. My son is 2.5 years old, and he's just having a burst of growth, new teeth, and some new development in his language as well, all at the same time. And the last few weeks have been crazy. So I have turned a little bit more crazy than usual, so I guess that's noticeable at this point. I'll just let this run like this, and we're going to connect that. I just wanted to make you know, well, why I keep doing things like these. This is, of course, not making sense if I'm doing stuff like that. No, this is going this way. A lot of people use blueprints for these things, and by all means, at some point, everybody has built these thingies often enough. But I felt like for this tutorial, for the sake of the tutorial series, I wanted to do no copy pasta for you guys. I wanted to build it from the scratch, so you can see all the wonderful mistakes I'm doing here, which are all the result of having no proper blueprint available. Because something I really realize a lot, quite often, is that at some point, if you keep doing complex tasks for a too long time, the human mind is prone to make mistakes. Like, you can't avoid that. That's why you need to correct work. People who pretend like they're never doing any mistakes, they're usually liars. Or don't give too much about making mistakes. Sounds maybe a little bit harsh, but well, if you keep concentrated for too long, you will have a lapse of concentration at some point. So, we're not able to do this with just one basic inserter, so every one of those guys will need two. With these boys here, they're luckily they're going to need 3 inserters as well, so I'm going to switch here to fast inserters, because this is going to be way easier if I'm going to have a connection, these connection spots like that, because doing everything here with the yellow inserters is just crazy. I don't like that at all. You can do it with yellow inserters as well, but in this scenario you would place your assemblers a little bit differently to achieve that. But this way, as you can see, every one of the factories has one copper cable factory purely dedicated to themselves, and they're sharing the third one's output between each other. This evens it out quite, well, as good as it is possible, I guess. So, I'm going to turn on the first one of these bad boys here, because I want to have a few of those green guys, because I'm quite annoyed of handcrafting all these electronic circuits in between. So, long story short, I don't think that anybody is able to hand build their factories without blueprints forever, without building some kind of weird crap that just doesn't work out optimally. It's always part of the process to optimize your stuff if you're not building off from some schedule, so, or some blueprint. Don't take it to your heart if your factory is looking apeshit. Sorry for the language, but sometimes you have to use the proper words where it's necessary, I think. So to cut this whole odyssey now into some proper part, we're going to do the same thing in the end of the process here as we did before. I'm going to balance this belt out like this with this weird machination of mine here. Well, I didn't really make that one up, but it's a very efficient one. Use it. Very efficient and very important. So we're going to let the electronic circuits run down here for now. Yeah. Okay. So we're going to build the mall area somewhere down there. Okay. So I'm going to plug in this whole monster in between the episodes, and for the next episode, I guess I don't know where we're going to end up. I've not made up my mind yet, but I think you can imagine how the rest of the stuff will work out. We will replicate this whole business several times until everything works out as intended. So thanks for watching, friends. Feel free to drop me a comment down below. I would deeply appreciate any form of communication. I always love to hear from you. Also, any like, share of this video, or even subscription to my channel would help me so much and would make me very, very grateful, but I don't mind if you don't. Most important thing is you keep watching this wonderful series here and maybe play some Factorio yourself, huh? So, see you guys next time, and goodbye.